Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today, as you can see, we are standing next to a rear scrape blade for the tractor. I've been wanting to get one of these for a while because there's some work that you can't do with a box blade. For instance, you know, when you want to tilt your blade up and use the edge of it to dig a ditch, like say along your driveway or just to clean out an existing ditch, you can't do that kind of stuff with a box blade. This past winter has kind of made me realize that there's a lot of need actually for both types of implements. The box blade is great for going through and pulling material with you and filling in little potholes and that kind of stuff, or little uneven places. But you can't move material over to one side to get rid of it in one pass. It always has to collect behind you in that box, and you either have to raise it up and let it come out, or you have to stop, and you can back up and push it. It does have a blade on the back to kind of push stuff, but that doesn't work very well either, especially when you're clearing snow. That's the biggest purpose, because I actually tried to clear my driveway with the box blade, and while it does dig down enough to kind of dig into some of the snow and ice, then you can only go a few feet before that box is full, and then you have to empty it out somewhere. In my driveway, there's not room to turn the tractor sideways and push that snow off the side of the road. So we needed a blade to pull behind the tractor that we can put at an angle. That way, when we go down the drive in one pass, it will move all the snow over to one side. I was looking at different blades, and I was trying to find one that's pretty heavy duty, because I've got a 60 horsepower four-wheel drive tractor, and I wanted to go with around a 7-foot blade. I looked at some that were 7 foot. They just didn't look like they were heavy enough. I found this one actually on Facebook Marketplace, but it is an equipment company that was selling it. They were called the Tractor Shop, and they're in South Webster, Ohio. I talked with Ronnie. I believe he's the main guy there, but he was great to talk to. He answered all my questions. I sent him some messages actually over Facebook on Messenger. He was always quick about getting back with me. So I started telling him what I wanted to do and the size of tractor and all that kind of stuff, and this has ended up being the blade that he recommended. This is actually an 8-foot King Kutter heavy duty blade, and as you can see, the back side of this is very reinforced. It's got a lot of extra structure on this, and I'll take you through it here in just a minute and show you some good close-up shots of this thing. This thing is heavy. I think this blade actually weighs, I think it's almost 900 pounds. You know, and most scrape blades are only 300 to 400, maybe at the most, for your typical 6-7 foot blades. And this thing is almost 900 pounds. So not only do I think that it's going to work good as far as durability and holding up to the force of the tractor, but it also is going to have some weight, so that if I want to cut a lot of surface, then it'll have the weight to kind of dig in there instead of just riding along on the top of the ground. So as you can see, this thing has tons of reinforcement here on the back of it. And not only does it have these cross sections, you know, that are coming down to reinforce that, but check out the width of this thing and this structure right here. This thing goes out, that's probably 8 inches. But then as you can see, you've got the cutter edge on it. This is a dual edge, so when you wear one edge out, you can flip this cutter edge over or replace it, either one. It's bolt on. But as you can see, just the sheer mass of this, the width of this structure through here is just super heavy. And then of course your unit here that you can pivot, change your angles on your blade, or you can raise it up and down, which we'll demonstrate that when we get it on the tractor. But all this stuff is just massive and just heavy built. And then your 3-point hookup is also very heavy built. So let me grab the tractor. I'm going to get this thing unloaded. We're going to set it up and hook it up to the back of the tractor. Don't know if we'll get to try it out today, but we'll at least go over it and check out some of the motions and that kind of stuff on there. to experiment just a little bit with these hitch pins. For right now, I'm going to leave them on the inside. Yeah. Man, I had that thing in a bind and could not hardly get that thing loose. And the problem was where the lift arms were in the middle, and that made them stick out so far that the top link wouldn't reach to that third link. And I was trying to get it rocked back there and trying to get it in there. Well, I had it close, so then I kind of was trying to just wiggle it around and force that pin in there. And then I come to the realization that it just wasn't going to go, and I shouldn't have to fight with it that way to get it hooked up. So I decided to go ahead and change out the pins and put them on the outsides. And that way the lift arms will be spread out wide enough to allow the implement to come in close enough to the tractor. That top link should reach with no problem. But let me show you how we can change those pins out. So this is the factory pin. This is a category 1 with a category 1 bolt. This is a category 2, but it's got a category 1 bolt with a category 2 pin. You can see the size of the pin itself and how much larger this one is, but then the bolt is still exactly the same. So you can put this right in where your category 1 pin came out, and that way you don't have to worry about bushings and trying to keep up with bushings all the time falling out of your lift arms. We're going to mount them to the outside of our blade. That way our lift arms are spread out wide enough, and that should give us the distance that we need in order to hook our top link up. Well, we finally got that thing hooked up. It took a little bit of doing, but we did finally get it. Wow, that's actually really easy to adjust. You can also angle this up and down, which it looks like you push this lever and then you can tilt the blade, and then that thing has a good positive lock into place. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe put a little grease on that to keep that from seizing up, because it's unpainted. You know, it looks like it'd actually work out quite well for me for what I'm wanting to do. That's actually a pretty good angle where I can get over there, get into a ditch. Not to mention I can take my arms and move them over and get this thing out past the side of the tractor and have that corner down and run that ditch line and clean that out. I'm really excited about getting to use this and trying it out, because I've been needing something for ages to try to keep the ditch going down the hill cleaned out. We're not going to get to try it out today. It took me much longer to get this thing hooked up than what I thought. There's still going to be some minor adjustments and stuff to get everything ironed out. It's actually pitched forward just a little bit more than what I want it to be. I'm pretty sure, you know, messing with my top link and all that kind of stuff, if I put that in a different hole, that will adjust that somewhat. This thing has to be pretty far out from your tractor, because like I say, this is a 8-foot blade, and this thing will spin completely around, and you can use it going backwards also. I think I can clear that. That's actually hitting the drawbar on the tractor, but it's just barely touching it. There we go. But the same way, you can run it right on around and run it straight, and it's super easy to change that around. I think pivot's really easy. I'm surprised. I'm really looking forward to trying this thing out and getting it fully set up and adjusted and all that kind of stuff. The pitch downhill is just a little bit much, but this blade is meant for a pretty big tractor. I've got my link arms actually set in one of the shorter holes so that they'll lower down closer to the ground, because some of my implements aren't big enough to support this tractor, so I had to actually adjust those arms and where the links come in to make them drop down farther so that I could actually hook up to some of those implements that were meant for my old tractor. So this one looks like I may have to make a few of those adjustments back, because I need this to actually be a little higher where it hooks up here so that I can run an even straight blade. Plus it'll pick up a little bit higher whenever I try to use it. So anyways, it's getting dark. This video took way longer than what I was expecting, mainly because the hookup on this it wasn't nearly as easy as I thought it was going to be. I think that those pins were turned to the inside simply for transport purpose. I don't think that they were meant to hook up either way. I think it because they're actually in the way of the kickstand too. Whenever you have your lift arms hooked up to it, you couldn't put the kickstand back up into place. Pretty sure that they were just in that position for shipping purposes and all that. So I flipped them back on the outside, went ahead and put my category 2 pins in it, and now I'm ready to go. Just make some minor adjustments and I can start using this thing. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more stuff coming up with this King Kutter 8-foot heavy duty grater blade.